Legends, how we doing today? I'm gonna take you on a bit of a journey on how I create all my thumbnails that are 100% free. I believe learning how to create one is probably the key factor in turning a video into a great video. You can put your heart and soul into a video, but if no one comes across your video, it's not going to get any views, man. If you just scroll through your feed that you have at the moment, the thing that jumps out is like, what are you going to click on? You've got so many different videos right in front of you, and the average attention span of anyone on YouTube is like, it's not even 2 seconds, I believe. So, you know, finding something you're going to click on, like, that's pretty cool. You know, if you're a gun dude, that's pretty sick. It's just what really catches your eye, and that's what I'm going to try and get through, or even just help you guys understand how to create a good thumbnail. So let's get into it. So first things first, we're going to go create a new tab. We're going to type in Canva here. This is what I usually use, 100% free. So it's been really good. Honestly, I've had no issues with it at all. There is a paid version if you want, but I just haven't had to use it so far. Going to go to the little thing here, which is a YouTube thumbnail, 1280 by 720. Close that tab there. Now I'm going to upload a image, but what you should have already is whatever game you're playing or whatever your main thumbnail idea is, you're to capture something that's really eye-catching or that looks really, really cool. So it could be a bit of a gameplay if it's a car game, if it's a gun game, something that's an interesting scene with maybe a main character at the front, or maybe an explosion or something like that. So I'm going to pick something I've already uploaded just as an example, but what you would do usually is you go to upload file, you pick wherever the actual file is or wherever you've moved it to. Typically I just move stuff to the desktop if I'm making something that's quick, so I can just quickly grab it, but that's how you would get it in this case. Going for a EA Sports WC title here. That's the title of the game. This still shot here, we're in Poland off memory with snow, so it's a pretty cool light effect here. And also you've got something a bit interesting is you're actually doing a freewheel drift, so something that's a little bit eye-catching. It's just not just like a plain normal stuff you'd sort of see. You know, you want something that really emphasizes the video or something in the video that's a key point, or, you know, retention. You've got to just keep the retention up basically. So we're just going to grab a corner here. Obviously we're going to put it out to 1280 by 720, which you have to move it again. We'll just try this side as well. And even still, like, I still mess this up often, guys, but practice makes perfect. It really does. So first thing we're going to do, we've got it here now. We're going to go to edit up on here. Then we're going to go to the adjust. We're going to adjust some colors. So a lot of in-game photos I find pretty dull, and typically what I do is I adjust the colors to suit the theme. Okay, that's a bit of an idea here. Try and think of a theme of the thumbnail before you've actually got it chosen. But this one, a bit of an intense factor, so, you know, we're going to try and really bring up the white in it so it's a bit more of like a bang, but also maybe try and get a bit of track detail as well. So first things first, we're going to go down here, we're going to go to vibrance here. We're going to crank that right up. Straight away, we've got a really nice highlight here and a really nice highlight on the tree out of the headlights. So that's something that's pretty cool. One of the biggest things to remember is when you got whatever your video is, remember that once you're in the video and you're trying to get that screenshot or whatever it is, always remember that around here on this bottom right corner is taken up by the length of the video. Actually takes up a lot more real estate than you'd imagine. So always try and focus that you want something to be in the center of your thumbnail, off to the right if you do, but up a little bit higher than that, or obviously on the left. But really can wreck a nice thumbnail just for that stupid timestamp on there, so really annoying. Next, we're going to crank up the saturation. Now I don't usually go too hectic, but as you can see, the more we go, the white's really starting to pop now. So I'm going to go maybe 45, go to 50 on this. I think 50 is probably a good number. It looks pretty well like an even tone, nothing's jumping out crazy. Next, we're going to adjust the brightness. We're just going to crank it up by a little bit. As you can see, the whole thing illuminates, but now you're getting a really nice reflection off that track. So that's one key thing that your eye's going to pick up when you're going on this thumbnail. A nice reflective, like, boom, like a pop, you know. So we're going to go have that as 40. Already looking pretty good in my opinion. That's a pretty nice quality thumbnail. But We're going to do a bit more. Now we're going to go to highlights again. Highlights, if you can see, it doesn't do a great deal, but it's just that last little bit that really can bring out the background I found. So with that, we're going to go 50. We're going to go 50 on that as well. Looking pretty nice. Shadows, you can, if it's a very dull image, you probably want to eliminate that a little bit. So you just, you don't want to bring it in. You want to obviously make it less, but remember, it's going to change the overall quality of the picture and the overall quality of like the whites and stuff. So we're going to leave that in this one. The whites, we are going to crank it up by a bit just to get that nice reflective, really emphasize this tone again more. So 34 will do. I'm happy with that. And now finally we're going to adjust the temperature. So because it's in Poland, obviously, really cold type of thing, I'm going to crank the temperature to a bit more of a bluey color. So it really gives that, bit of an icy, bit of a hardcore type of feel. So that's looking pretty good. That's just our image. The colors are done. Nothing crazy yet so far. So with the color, the feel, the theme, or the temperature, that's done. We still got a little bit more to go. So we're going to go back into the adjustment here. We're going to go down all the way to the bottom now. We're going to go to sharpness. So this is just that little extra detail you can bring out for the track and stuff like that. But obviously you only want a little bit, I find helps, because otherwise it gets very cluttered, as you can see in the background. So honestly, I might even do like 15, nothing crazy, right? Just a little bit clarity, just a little bit more as well. So say 10, that's pretty good. Now we've got a very nice image here. It's pretty crisp, pretty clear, and it's pretty obvious what's going on here. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You can, if you want, even go further into this. So back into adjustment, and you can actually adjust some of the colors here as well. So this is the final color here for, more of the darker bluey, like the aqua colors on the trees and stuff. If you want, you can really bring that out a bit more. But for the amount that it gives you, I don't typically bother with it, if I'm honest. But we will, just in this case, just because. Looking pretty good so far. So now what we're going to do, we're going to implement a photo on the thumbnail of myself. Really good way to capture your audience. If they're looking through stuff, they don't have a notifications bell on, but they're actively on YouTube, something comes up, it's got your face on it, easy to pick you up. If you're a bit shy, you don't have to do this step. You can skip it if you want, but it's an interesting way to learn how to do it. Plus it's totally free. I actually found a free way to do it. So with that involved, let's get into it. So we're going to go across here. I've got it saved as a tab here, but it's actually just called Photo Room. 100% free. Used it for probably a year now, and honestly, it's been pretty good. So start from a photo. We're going to go to wherever your photos are. Obviously, before you have gone into this, you would have set up your webcam with a timer, put some sort of exaggerated face, whatever you want it to do. But just pick on the thumbnail where you want to actually put this photo of yourself on the thumbnail. That way, you can already have the nice, the perfect way you want to point. This way, that way, or where your eyes want to be. If you're going to be on the bottom of the thumbnail, you want to look up type of thing, or look level, or look down if you're going to be from the top down. Just a few things to consider before you get right into it. So I'm just going to pick this one here. It should work fine for this application. I find this stuff so freaking cringe, man, of the photos, but we got to do it as YouTubers, so whatever. The free version for this, you can download it. You can get 1280 by 1280 pixel, which is still pretty good, but if you want a higher res, you got to go pro and upgrade it. But honestly, this is fine. Open file, I usually just change where it's going to be stored. So I'll go across here, flick up to the desktop, and just sit him right there. So we know, at a quick glance, we can get it straight away. Go into this, scroll up here, and I've already got it there, but what I would have done obviously is upload a file, desktop, and there it would be. Open, and boom, you've got the cutout version, overlaid onto the screen, and now all you do is just move this up and down. Obviously this isn't perfect because it's free, so I've still got a bit of my chair in the background, but for this application, I think it's going to be totally fine. So we're going to go, if you want it to be there, you could, or if you wanted to flip it, don't know if I think I'm going to have to just move my board across here, and I use Streamlabs for this stuff, guys, so just so you know. Yeah, so we're going here, click on the photo of myself, and what you would do if you want it on this side, you'd obviously go to the where is it? So even I remember, I forget, flip is what it is. Gonna go 100 or flip it horizontal, and then boom. But just be aware if you've got stuff on your clothes or your hat, it flips the text as well. And although it is pretty small, can be picked up and it can look pretty crap, man. So we're not going to flip it in this case, but this is just as an example. Going to go across here. Now I'm thinking what we're going to do, going to just set myself back a little bit, and we're going to have my finger pointed at this wheel just for the title or the text. I'm going to have some sort of freewheel drifting, not too sure yet, but we'll pick it up as we go. So we're going to go, obviously click on me, edit, going to adjust the colors. So you want to adjust these colors to sort of suit the overall picture, you know. So we're going to move the temperature up a little bit, gold a bit there, just because we've got that nice reflection there. I might even just go just a little bit there. Yeah, that's looking better. Brightness, probably just a touch, not too crazy. Contrast, just a little bit there. Vibrance, you can do whatever you want. Honestly, this is just personal choice. You can sort of put yourself how you want you to be. Okay, now we're out of that. Still on here. Gonna go back to edit, and now we're gonna go down to this tab here, which is FX effects. And all I'm gonna do here is just put a little border around myself, the outline. Gonna put the size down a little bit. We don't want it to be crazy, but I'm gonna change it to white. Obviously, white background there, but white line. If you look at it now, standing back, it sort of looks within the theme, so we're still going good. Trying to really sort of picking up a blue and a white theme here with maybe yellow or a goldy color, but still working on it so far. Now what you can also do is say you want, it's looking pretty good there, but I think because we've got this pointed this way, the wheel, got a bit of spray coming off the back as well. Maybe we want to overlay some like maybe radial lines to give it a bit more of like a speed effect, you know. So what you can do in this case is, I've got some stuff already uploaded here, but I'll show you how I would do it. Open a new tab, I'm going to go to a Google search, and I'm just going to type in, you know, radial lines. That image search, obviously. Now, it can take a while, but usually what you do, once you get a few of the ones that you like, in Canva it actually stores your previous stuff you've uploaded, so you can go back to it time and time again, and it's already there really quick to grab, so you can just do whatever you want. Just got to try and find one that's sort of, you know, an effect from a small point out. I think we're just going to use these very basic horizontal speed lines, very basic. So I'm going to move to desktop, obviously. Going to change the thing there to put it on the desktop, which we already did. Skip it. Honestly, this is going to happen so many times, guys. I'm not the most computer illiterate guy, but I get the job done. Going to go to photo room, start from photo, desktop, which is there, speed lines. That's done. Going to download that now. Sometimes I'll ask you to verify that you're human. That's all it is. Nothing crazy going on here at all. Nothing sus. So now we go to the standard resolution, obviously. Going to put the transparent one on the desktop, back into this. Going to upload it from the desktop, the one we wanted, which is this one here, and there we go. So this is looking pretty good, except it's the wrong way. So now we're going to flip this horizontally. Now we're going to try and just minimize this at the moment. We're going to look at what way this roost would actually come, so I'm going to angle it maybe back this way. Just go like that. We don't want it on the car. I'm going to actually adjust the transparency. We're going to wind it down a bit. Just that little bit there. Looks like nothing, but it's funny, some little effect like this can really just that little bit extra that it's going to catch someone's eye basically more than the next guy who hadn't had it. So experiment with this stuff, but really cool in my opinion. Okay, now we're going to get to titles, man. This is the hard one itself, just trying to think of a title. Sometimes you have no idea what you even want it to be, but it'll just come to you when you're actually editing through it. So for this one, I'm going to go, obviously, delete. I'm going to go free, wheel, madness. Sounds pretty cool. The font type is up here. I'm going to just choose very different fonts for very different thumbnails. So the shorter the wording, so maybe 1 or 2 words, you sort of want to use something that's wide to fill up the screen. But if it's something, we'll say 3, 4, 5 words, you never want to have any more than 5 words as an example as well. Just too much clutter. You want something that's sort of not as wide, but a bit taller to take up a bit more real estate. So for this, I'm going to try a Berthold block here. Looking pretty good. So if you get the mistake too, you can just go to this back arrow here, undoes it, which is awesome. Going to move this here, and also you can automatically find the center of the page there as well. Looking back at that, I'm like, not too bad, but I think we can do better. Going to change the font again to Horizon. Now, this can be really difficult to get right because sometimes different fonts way different in what you want to do. So you want to just change this now. Freewheel Madness at the top. Find the center if we can. There. It's not too bad. We're going to just increase the size so it takes up the top. Looking back at that, that's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. So now, obviously, we've got blue, white, bit of gold. We want stuff that's going to highlight this. So I'm thinking I'm going to change the text from black to white. Straight away, that's popping. Now what I usually like to do is with my headlines here and my titles up on the thumbnail with the words, go to elements, I'm going to go to shapes, I'm going to just drag out this square, I'm going to move it up to an even sort of spacing there, which is, I'd say there somewhere. Change that to black. Then we're going to change the transparency, we're going to put it down, say 45 area, sounds good to me. You don't want it as like a solid block just to take up the whole thing, but now it just gives that little bit of extra backing to it, a bit more of an effect. Looking pretty good so far, happy with this. Gonna go to the text again, and now we're gonna go up here to effects. Now you can basically choose if you want to have a shadow, lift, whatever you want to exaggerate the text. Usually I'll go for an outline, and with this, because we've got, you know, we don't need to hide it too much because we've already put that block behind it, but we could go, I think, a light, maybe a blue like that. And honestly, that looks pretty good. What I tend to do usually is just take a little step back from the screen itself and look at it as a whole. Just see, like, can I really make it what's going on? Because remember, when someone's usually on YouTube, most of the time they're on a freaking phone, man, and the thumbnails are tiny. So just think about that. So straight away, I'm like, okay, it's just a little bit too spread out. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna zoom in this a bit more. Also gonna bring this back to the center again, like that. Speed lines, change them just a bit. Gonna make me a little bit bigger than I was. Gonna not, yeah, actually we will make the text a little bit bigger, just a touch. The block stays the same at the back, and straight away it's a bit better. We can actually see a bit more what's going on. Now what you could also do too, if you didn't want to have yourself in the corner there, you just wanted a wheel, obviously you can just go back through the footage that you have. I tend to do it on the same spot, so for there you'd be obviously drifting to the right, cranked obviously, so you're sort of like not lock, but you've got a big amount of input there. I screenshot on that point there, and I just reduce the size down to a little square, and I'd probably, if it was me, I'd probably put it, I'd say up in this corner here, because there's not as much stuff to hide, so it's not as bad. You're not really looking at that. Here you could argue that I'm actually taking up a lot of the main stuff you'd want to see, but personal preference, man, how you want to do stuff, it really doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, you can actually make 3 different versions of this one. So I might do one where, you know, I've made the text white with blue. The next one might be, say, yellow text with, you know, a white outline. Then the next one, it might be not me, it might be me with the wheel instead of my face. So you can do like an A/B test on YouTube, if you guys would have seen that, I'm sure. And basically what it does, it gives you feedback to see what was the most clicked one, and then you can sort of gauge what your audience really likes to see for yourself. So This is just a rough example, man. Let's move it up a little bit too. And then that's pretty good, man. Honestly, you wouldn't need to do too much more than that, but you can take it a bit further if you want. You can go into, so you can go elements here, and then I'm thinking, what do you really want to do? You could probably add an arrow or something, or maybe a line, maybe, you know, a lot of stuff you could do. Maybe a shadow would work well here. But the problem is, on this free version of Canva, a lot of the stuff is behind a paywall. So a lot of the main stuff you try and get onto, you're gonna find that you can't really use it. And usually the crap thing is that you're very limited to the free stuff. So unless you want to pay another freaking monthly bill, you know, I stick to the free stuff. Or unless you're making enough money on YouTube to warrant the cost of, I don't know how much it even is, but say $15 a month. You know, is it really worth it to get a little bit more editing stuff when you can get by for now? So that's that. But that's typically how I would go through and make a thumbnail. 100% free. Obviously, you can add more. You can add stickers to it. You can overlay as much more stuff on as you want. You can even, if you want to, screenshot the thumbnail. It's the image itself, so you have an image of the Peugeot. And then you can add some stuff behind the Peugeot and then overlay the new transparent Peugeot on top of that, so you can get some effects behind it. Like, you know, maybe you might want to have like an outline of the car around it. That's how you could do that, because all you'd have to do obviously is you click on here, you go to edit, and then shadows. Straight away you've got a nice little outline around the Peugeot itself, so it's a bit more of a, you know, draw your eye into it. For this one, I'm pretty happy with that. So basically, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. That's how I go about making a thumbnail. And you can consider a like, but yeah, just trying to help you guys out as much as I can, because I feel like a thumbnail is a pretty important tool on YouTube. So with that, take it easy guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.